Welcome to the first presentation of the Otterdam Furry Arts Festival, and it is my great honor to introduce Addy de Jongh, who could not be here today because he's playing with otters in Norway at the moment. It's a tough life, but he deserves it because he was responsible for starting Stichting Otterstation Nederland in 1985, and at that time, the otter was extinct in the Netherlands, and through his hard work and environmental protection and learning how the otters worked and lived and played, he was able to get them back, and he'll tell you all about it now. I should say Sir Addy de Jongh because he has received a royal, what's that called? A royal honor, I guess. And with no further ado, I would like to turn it over to Addy de Jongh.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being with you, although it's far away from Norway. I should say hi fra Norge, and I wave, of course, the Norwegian flag. Well, I'm from Friesland. I live there, so that's why I wear my bow tie. But let's start. My presentation has the title, The Otter Shows the Way, and you will see why. Let's start the first slide. Actually, the otter is a typical Dutch bank dweller. In the past, you could find them everywhere where there was fresh water, along the rivers, along canals, lakes, and the Dutch people also embrace the otter in their culture. You can see that from this stone, the facing brick, but also a lot of Dutch people have names like Den Otter, Otterspeer, Otterlo, and these are all the silent witnesses of the otter. Well, what is the otter actually? The otter is a mustelid. It is a carnivore. It eats mainly fish, but also other animals. It is a predator, and it lives mainly in the water. They are quite large, I must say. They can be up to 1.3 meters long and can weigh 15 kg. They are well adapted to water and land, and look at their heads. You can see that their nose, eyes, and ears are high up in their heads, so they can sink below the water surface and still use all their senses. The otter lives alone. Well, this is our species. There are 13 otter species all around the world, but this one, lutra, it's called in Latin, lives alone. And when you can see 2, 3 otters together, mostly it is a female with the cubs. Here you see a very nice photo of the little cubs, still gray with their eyes shut. They stay a long time with their mother, for 12 months. And otters, they are on the top of the food chain or the food pyramid, and therefore they are very sensitive for pollution and also for extinction. They need very large habitats, living space. So that's why nature policy is very important for this species. The presence of otters, you can see from the excrements. They put their sprains, their feces on typical places like you see on these slides. Sometimes on a tuft of grass they make themselves, and on corners of lakes and canals where these meet. But also the paw prints, we call them prints. You see 5 toes, and that's a big difference with your dog or a cat. For me, the beginning was very nice. It was in 1984. I did otter research with Dr. Hans Krug on wild otters, and I could actually, what was being said in the introduction, play with a very nice tame otter. Well, in the beginning, she was not tame, but after 1.5 months, she became tame, and we became best buddies, as you can see on this very nice photograph. I'm a scuba diver, and that's very handy when you want to study otters. So I follow the otters underwater, and this was fun. For the study, Penny, this is the otter's name, was quite serious, but at times she just wanted to play, and she raided me from behind, ripped off my mask or my regulator, and that was always big fun. Because of this, in 1985, we started, as translated, the Dutch Otterstation Foundation, but in Dutch it's Stichting Otterstation Nederland. And this, well, for us, the otter was very, very important from the start because we know it's very critical. It needs clean waterways, needs plenty of clean food, a lot of nature. And therefore, we called the otter the ambassador of the freshwater environment. And actually, it is like this, as this otter says. Make it all right for the otter, and other animals, plants, and us people also benefit from this. Our foundation was started, and of course we have a mission statement. The mission statement was restoring the freshwater environment in the Netherlands and abroad. And the return of the otter was its coronation. Many activities we did from the start, of course, education, PR, go to the TV. We did applied and scientific research like I'm doing now also in Norway, but also step to the politicians and to civil servants to make policies change. But already we knew that the otter was going extinct, and therefore we started very early preparations for an international breeding program. And then inevitably the otter went extinct in the Netherlands. And that was, of course, a terrible blow and a big shame for us Dutch people, because we polluted our own nest that much, and there was too less nature. And the otter got extinct because of traffic, water pollution, even hunting until the 50s, drowning in fight nets also, and then the habitat fragmentation. Nature was pushed back to some small nature reserves without any connection. But we could turn the tide together also with other organizations, and we managed to get good contacts with 3 ministries of our government responsible for nature policy. We made these plans, as you see here, and that was the start for the return of the otter. It took some years, but then finally, in 2002, we could start. But then there came some discussion from Germany. The Germans said, well, the otters, they can come by themselves. Let's make nature better. And they do it themselves. But we didn't agree, and we planned this reintroduction, because otherwise we should have to wait maybe 50 to 100 years. And then you must think, where do you get the otters from? Only from populations where there are still a lot of otters and where you can trap some and bring them to the Netherlands. This is what we did, but secondarily, we also used orphaned otters and otters which have been bred in special breeding centers. We chose a very good area in the northwest of the province of Overijssel as the reintroduction area. This is quite big. It's 12,000 hectares of almost connected wetlands. And there we started. We released the first 7 otters, and this nice slide shows you how they established themselves in the national park of the Weerribben. As some of you are Dutch and you know where this area is. And actually you see some overlap. You see also that there are some otters from Belarus, from Sweden, from Czech Republic, and this was a very good start. But you want to know the fate of the reintroduced otters, and therefore we did monitoring with telemetric research, also from animal recognition chips, as your cat or dog can have, tracks in snow and mud and feces. And we got also a very nice subsidy from a large Dutch fund through which we could get DNA from the feces and know exactly which otter was where. And I still remember very well, because at that time I was in the States for an international conference, and only 1 year after the reintroduction, the first young otter was born in the Netherlands. And this DNA technique, it showed that the mother was Chernia from Belarus, and the father was Thor from Sweden. So that's the power of this DNA technique. And then the otter population, it started to spread. Well, first, maybe you can see my mouse. Here was the reintroduction area. First, it spread mostly to Friesland, to the north. But then they started to spread further out, And you will see this by these ellipses I show. They went on and on spreading, and it was very good, of course. But our government also promised that they would take care of mitigation measures like fauna tunnels on the roads and other measures to give them safe passage. But this was actually a little bit a problem. That didn't happen enough. Still, in 2024, we could estimate, also thanks to the DNA technique, that a population of about 600 otters established themselves back in the Netherlands. We use nowadays also infrared camera traps. I use them here also in Norway. And then something happened. There were not enough of these mitigation measures, and a female otter was killed on the road in Friesland. And then a woman called us. She found an orphaned otter on the road, very weak. We took it in, and then the next 2 days, 2 other otters from the same litter were found, and they were with me at home because we did not have an orphanage yet. And at home, it was a grand pleasure, of course. Here you see one of the cubs lying in a weighing scales, and we monitored, of course, how they grow. And they drink from a drinking fountain, and they learned to swim in my bathtub. And of course, they enjoyed that very much. They learned also how to catch fish, and that was also a pleasure to see. But of course, the otters should not get too much attached to us, and therefore we knew that it was after 4 or 5 weeks time to go to an enclosure outside near a nature reserve. We built that in between, and there they were getting more wild. We stepped away from them, and the rewilding was actually a big success. Well, they got a transmitter. We could follow what happened to them. And here you see my daughter in the right photo with one of the cubs, the first cubs on our lap. And one of the cubs which was released moved all the way from this area where you see my mouse to the red marker, Google Maps marker in the south of Friesland. So she moved to another area, which is quite normal, otters. In the meantime, more otters were found, and orphaned otters, like you see here on the left. My daughter and I and another man rescued it. I was asked in Iran also to help with the orphaned otters. And then we came to the conclusion that there were still some last problems in the Netherlands. Still too many otters got killed on the road. Otters still could be drowning in fight nets. The inbreeding could have been a problem, but that was soon solved by bringing in fresh blood, other otters, and locally also still some chemicals like PCBs. And then the government didn't keep its promises, and therefore we went to court and we used the EU Habitat Directive to pressure our government to take measures to get these otter tunnels under the road. And in 2014, we won the first lawsuit, and then the government went into higher appeal. We followed them, but also this we won. And now we can see in the Netherlands at many places otter tunnels and fences under the road to give them safe passage. But not only otters use those, also a lot of other animals, like other mustelids, but also, for instance, the grass snake. So that's very helpful. This is a map of the province of South Holland, where you are. You see Rotterdam, that's the place where you are now. And this province of South Holland asked us, can you prepare a map for us to make clear where there are the hot spots where otters could get killed on the road and where we can start to solve it and to reconnect those areas where otters live. Now on the map, you see these big green large areas. Those are the otter habitats. And the lines, they are the connections between them. And of course, there are very specific bottlenecks, especially at highways. And there's one big highway not so far from Dordrecht and Rotterdam. And there needed to be a very special construction, and also for beavers under the road. And therefore, you see this picture below. Rotterdam. We know Rotterdam has been in the past very important for otters. And we know that there is a nice river called the Rotte, and Rotterdam thanks its name to this river. And we feel the Rotte should be connected again with the new Maas. You see it there. And therefore we made this plan. Also, you can bring back nature into the cities. And it's shown here. There should be an ecoduct in the city, giving reconnections not only to otters, for other animals as well, and fish, for fish migration. Fish is very, very important. And for us, it was fantastic to see on the website that there was this very nice initiative, the Furry Arts Festival, but also an otter dance. So we got in contact with the foundation, and now we are having this presentation, and you have this fantastic festival. But still, things need to be developed more. Here you see all these arrows. They are the connections between the nature areas, this green ellipsis, for the future. And we are trying to build those. Really, it's happening that those connections, as there were in the past, but now in a little bit other way, will be established. Already otters found a way to Belgium, near number 5. That's good. And this otter in Belgium, that was very surprising. It was an otter which came from the center of the Netherlands, from Flevoland, moved all the way there. And that was very difficult, of course. But with our plans, that will be going easier in the future. And there is a future plan for the whole of Europe. And this is also a little bit a dream of a German colleague of mine. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2005. But Klaus Reuter thought that all the otter populations, the green parts in Europe, should be connected. And these arrows show that. And together with European colleagues, we are working on that. And we're pretty sure we will manage and get those results. With this, I'd like to thank you very much for your attention. I will need, I speak now for the otter, your support in the future. And so therefore also go to the stand at the Artist Alley. There are Ellen and Hans, they can give you more information. And please donate, help the otter. And you will see there at the table also a QR code that makes it easy to donate. And you can even get a free, very nice book with beautiful otter photos. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Addy. I want to just add to that with your donation, you'll also get one of the posters that were used to advertise this event. So you can go home and remember the Otterdam Furry Arts Festival in your bedroom or shack. Were there any questions? Yes.
Yeah, I was wondering, I'm from Canada, and we have these invasive crayfish from the US there, these American red crayfish, and they cause a lot of...
I will. Oh, yes, actually, I can give you a microphone. I'm sorry. I thought I would just repeat it. Test 1, 2. Okay. Sorry about that.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. That was a great talk. I was wondering, I'm from Gouda, and in Gouda we have, and I think throughout most of the Netherlands, we have these invasive crayfish from the US. And you mentioned the otter is a carnivorous animal. Does the otter play any role in keeping this crayfish, this destructive animal, in check?
Yes, I can say that this is certainly the case, because with the increase of this exotic crayfish, the invasive crayfish, we see in the diet of the otter that they eat more and more crayfish. We also did calculations to see what the influence of this predation on crayfish could be, and it really is very promising. But of course, we need more good nature for this, more otter habitat, and then this crayfish, the otter can help to get this crayfish in check.
Okay, anybody else? No? I also wanted to mention, I don't think that Addy did, we have a charity auction, and all proceeds will go to Stichting Otterstation Nederland. The artists have signs at their own... Oh, can you hear me? Everything good? Yes? Okay. We'll have signs at their tables which will show what they're auctioning off. But to make the bid, you just go to the Stichting Otterdam table, which is right next to the Stichting Otterstation Nederland table over by the photohoek. And you can write in your bids. And then at 4:30, we'll bring it to a voice vote, a voice bid, so that... and whoever wins it gets it. There's some really great stuff. I'm going to be putting in some bids, so, watch out.
Oh, great. Thanks.
Yes, thank you. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if you knew this, Addy, but when we were distributing tickets, we were offering free tickets to this event. People had the option of donating, and so in addition to that, we've already collected 180 euros for your cause, and to hopefully help the otters. So thank you once again.